on this regional train bound for Gothenburg via Copenhagen Airport Kastrup, Malmö Lund, Helsingborg. On our way towards Copenhagen Airport, we will call at Ørestad and Tornby. For safety reasons,
Without doubt, the most exciting part of visiting the city Malmö from Copenhagen was crossing the famous Øresund Bridge with a train that connects two Nordic countries in Northern Europe, Denmark and Sweden. It took nearly 5 years to complete the building of the bridge, as it is the longest one in entire Europe. The approximately 16-kilometer long road and rail link consists of 3 sections: a bridge, an artificial island, and a tunnel. Only the bridge above the sea has a length of around 8 kilometers, and the tunnel goes under the sea for about 4 kilometers. The view from the train is stunning, seeing the modern bridge construction and the blue shades of the sea. If you are lucky and start from Copenhagen early as we did, you may even catch a glimpse of the sunrise from the train. The ride took about 30 minutes altogether and costs 13 euros one way per person. It is also possible to cross the bridge with a car, and it takes only 10 minutes. By the way, a friend told me that there is even a Swedish-Danish hit television series called The Bridge filmed here, that made the Øresund Bridge even more popular and attractive to tourists. I didn't know about the series before, but I will check it out for sure. Have you maybe watched it? When we entered Sweden, we had a very fast passport control, and very soon after, we arrived to Malmö. Located in the south of Sweden, Malmö is the third largest city in the country, after Stockholm and Gothenburg. Founded in the late 1200s, Malmö originally belonged to Denmark and became Swedish in 1658. When we left the train station, the first thing we noticed about the city is a perfect blend of old-world traditional-looking charm and ultra-modern Swedish contemporary design. Today, the city is home to over 316,000 people, and it is a true mix of cultures, with residents coming from over 170 countries. After a short walk, we decided to visit the Malmö Castle. The castle is located 15 minutes walk southwest from the train station and is very easy to find since it is visible from far away. After passing by the canal with the water and these cute swans and ducks, we crossed the old bridge, entered the gate and reached our goal. The castle was restored in the 1930s in the Renaissance style, and today it is a museum, as well as one of the oldest Renaissance forts in South Scandinavia. It is open every day for visitors, except Mondays, and the ticket costs 40 Swedish crowns. Malmö Castle is a home today to a natural museum, especially interesting for children, as well as photo exhibitions and Nordic art. However, the highlight of our visit here was to explore the castle building itself, which was temporarily a royal residence, beautifully furnished with centuries-old portraits and paintings. And while we admired the royal chambers together, I will tell you a bit more about the history of the castle. Malmö Castle, or Malmöhus, was founded in the 1434 by King Erik of Pomerania, the King of Denmark, Norway and Sweden. After this union was dissolved, Malmö remained a part of Denmark. In the early 16th century, the structure was demolished when the citizens of Malmö occupied it and tore down the walls. The castle got a major reconstruction in the 1530s, when King Christian III ordered the building of a modern fortress, beautiful Renaissance castle with blood-red cannon towers defending the city's western flank that we can see from outside. In 1607, Denmark's King Christian IV, also known as Builder King, also added an elegant storehouse. Historically, the fortress was one of the most important fortresses of Denmark. Even Denmark's coins were minted here in the Middle Ages. Later, when Sweden gained control of the region, work began on even more elaborated defenses to keep the Danish people out. Despite their best efforts, Danish forces never managed to recapture the castle, and the city has been Swedish ever since. After 1658, the Swedish modernized the castle with a Dutch-inspired defense system. However, the fortress fell into disrepair, and Malmö Castle was used mainly as a granary and an arsenal for the Swedish army. The Malmö Castle has also its dark side of the history. From 1828 till 1909, it served as a prison, where prisoners were beheaded in the courtyard. At the lower floor of the building, there is an exhibition dedicated to the section on the plug and some of the methods used to execute the prisoners who were held here. The exhibition can be a bit too scary for very young children. The displayed Bible that you see belonged to the Danish King Christian IV and was printed in Copenhagen in 1633. The whole museum visit took us around 1 hour, and we were ready to explore the town of Malmö. Outside of the castle, we noticed this old mill in the park, which was built far back in 1851. The city center is very close to the castle, so in 10 minutes walk we were already surrounded by the locals strolling around the town. During this time in February, there was not so much greenery to see, but I can imagine that in summer it gets very colorful from the parks in the town. As Malmö is located at the edge of the sea, it is a pretty windy city, which we for sure experienced during our stay. Walking along the streets of the old town, it slowly started to feel like time travel. Some of the streets got very narrow as we were approaching the historical market square. Surrounded by old houses, the square was created in 1950 and is still regularly used as a marketplace. The colorful half-timbered houses are dating from the 16th to 18th century. The little square, or as it is also called, Lilla Torg, is a popular meeting place, especially in summer. It is worth spending here more time and just explore the architecture, colors, and the picturesque atmosphere. At the market, as well as at the streets around it, there are many small cute shops and boutiques with different handicrafts, traditional restaurants and bars with outdoor seating, which were now, due to the lower winter temperature, mostly full only inside, where they provide cozy, warm atmosphere. Of course, as we didn't rest since the start of the day, we couldn't resist to sit down for a coffee in one of the cute coffee houses nearby. The price of the coffee is pretty high, but still lower than in Denmark, around €3.20 per cup, or 34 Swedish crowns. Although I avoid eating sweets, I just had to try the gluten-free nut pie, and Dougie tried an apple pie. It was delicious, trust me. The whole bill, 2 cappuccinos and 2 pies, was 138 Swedish crown, or 13 euros and 10 cents. After warming up, we took a walk in the main shopping street. But what brought the most attention to me was this interesting sculpture called the Optimistic Orchestra, the cubist representation of a musical marching band, created in 1985 by Ingvar Lundell. Something that you cannot miss while visiting Malmö is the Malmö's oldest building, St. Peter's Church. This 14th century Gothic church is a brick masterpiece, built in the style of the so-called Baltic brick Gothic. The construction started in the early 1300s and was influenced by the St. Mary's Church in Lübeck, Germany. St. Peter's Church contains late medieval murals of high quality, as well as a number of unusual furnishings. The altarpiece, made in 1611, is one of the largest in the Nordic countries. We are coming closer to the end of our visit of Malmö. Soon, we will take the train back over the Öresund Bridge and fly from the Copenhagen airport back to Nürnberg. But before we leave Malmö, there is one last place that I want to share with you. Stortorget, or Big Square, was built around 1540 and is the largest and oldest square in Malmö, covering an area of around 2,500 square meters. Originally, it was once the biggest marketplace in Northern Europe, and today it is often used for big events. In the middle of the Stortorget stands the large statue of the Swedish king Karl X Gustav from the year 1895, made by the Swedish sculptor John Börjesson. Hope, my friends, you enjoyed the Malmö tour. It is time for us to fly back home. I wish you to come to visit Swedish town Malmö soon and enjoy it on your own. Thank you, my friends.